Hello, everybody. Welcome to Talk About with Biff, Lucky, and Mr. Fun, the podcast where we will talk about everything. We will talk about anything. Quite frankly, we are going to talk about it all, and maybe our most remote ever today.
We have all these international fans, so we're making our way out to the different countries to be with them. So
yeah, Lucky's in Puerto Vallarta, Mexico.
Yep.
Mr. Fun is in the other worldly country of Teaneck, New Jersey, if I'm not mistaken.
This is Grandma Aud's lamp.
No, that's Grandma Oz way up, hiding his face here, to keeping his anonymity secure.
For a little while longer.
For another week. I am in Delaware, so we have folks in 3 different places, but good to see you guys. Rockfish let us in again with Chesapeake time. Rockfish had reached out to me again. He and Mrs. R continue to laugh at everything we do, so I'm glad they are continuing to listen to us, and we do appreciate that. And I think he's got one more concert in early October, and as I will admit, I neglected to put the concert schedule down last week in the show notes, and I will endeavor to do that again this week. So anybody in the northern neck of Virginia might be able to go see them, so please do that. JK, where in the world is JK, our Western correspondent this week? He is in Modesto, California, part of the world. Buckeye, Arizona, have no idea where that is, and Lake Havasu, which is the border of California and Arizona, which I believe is the Colorado River, which is like just a crazy spring break area for anybody. Just search for it online, and it's crazy stuff on the boats there. So he is there, and I'm sure he will send us some photos of what that is like down there in Arizona. So good. What's going on in your worlds, guys?
Well, like I said, I'm in Puerto Vallarta. I got the Bay of Banderas behind me. Can you guys see?
Yeah.
Captain Steubing dropped us off. I've been drinking some drinks from Isaac, the bartender, and
nice.
Julie McCoy. I saw her off duty at the bar last night. A bunch of guys hitting on her. So I don't know, but but the Puerto Vallarta became famous because of one of the stops of the Love Boat, which is pretty interesting. And awesome place if you've ever been there before.
And you were extending the outreach to Mexican fans. Have you been talk about to anybody that you will listen?
Yes, I do. I have gotten a lot of shout outs. Now I'm here for a wedding, and it's my California contingent who my niece is getting married here, or got married yesterday, and or Friday, excuse me. I've got all my days mixed up. But anyway, a lot of the folks who listen to the podcast in Southern California are out here, and they're friends, and they all know me as as Lucky the podcaster, and they ask me a bunch of questions. They want to know what we're talking about this week, and as we drank some drinks in the pool yesterday, so it was pretty cool.
That's great.
Will you do me a favor? When you talk to the Mexicans, use the word mucho when you talk to them, because it'll mean a lot to them.
Mucho. Okay. Mucho, Mr. Fun.
Yeah, mucho, Mr. Fun. So I just forget, we are not drinking today, although Lucky, I think, has drank enough to prop up the Mexican economy, I think, while he's been down there, as I just heard. But if we were drinking, we would drink Scotty's, and I have the Scotty's bottle here in front of me. Lucky's representing Scotty's. I think I'm going to see Scotty and lady friend Jen later today at Ocean's Calling in Ocean City, which is the big music festival, which had to be today. It's Sunday morning. Yesterday, it rained a lot. Yesterday afternoon, it had to be miserable to be there. But bands, looking forward to it. I think the headliners, Fall Out Boy. I could take or leave them. But going to see Train today. Weezer. I think Vance Joy, who I saw in Red Rocks a couple years ago, which I'm looking forward to seeing him again. And
Friday
then
night was Green Day. Green Day,
which was big. It was a beautiful night. I didn't go, but it was a beautiful night. So had that, and then OAR and Friends. So OAR is the band that really organizes it. It's a really great time. So we, Lucky and I saw that last year, and so we were looking forward to seeing that again this week. And Mr. Fun, you were in New Jersey, seeing some friends.
You know what? It's a sad occasion, and also one that turned out to be, almost like a high school reunion. We have a guy in our friend group, unfortunately, passed away from cancer, real sudden. Probably 6 months from diagnosis to his passing. And this was his celebration of life. It was 150 people, mostly from his high school class, and it was great. I mean, the stories were great, the memories were great. You kind of look to this as if you're the type of person that wants to have a celebration of life, something that was would be what he wanted us to do for him. I think we checked the boxes on that, and it was great seeing everybody, and great to memorialize him this way.
Did you get? So it sounded like it was like a high school reunion. I mean, did you get? Is that how many people you attend like your high school reunions, Mr.
Yeah,
Fun?
you know what? Probably something similar to that. And he had lots of circles of friends, with his, work life and just, it never really left the area. So people that knew him from the town, it was a collection of people's parents who had met him, but a lot of people from my high school class were there. So pretty wild, pretty wild.
And that sounds awesome. So,
Yeah.
before I forget, I do want to give a shout out to April B. Superfan, and then just a shout out for the foregoing week. This coming Saturday is Dewey Goes Pink up in Dewey Beach, which is a big fundraising activity. I think I hear some like 4,000 to 5,000 people go to it. There's a 5K race, run, walk, things like that. We are going to that, and April B. is a big part of that, as along with Kevin P., who again talked to about jokes, and he does have jokes. The problem is he keeps trying them out on people, and they keep taking them from him, saying, "You can't tell that one." I'm like, Kevin, you guys got to come. You cannot.
These
If you
better
tell
be
a
some
bad
good
joke, you tell
jokes.
a bad joke. What'd say?
There better be some good jokes. He's been working on them for a long time.
He has been
It
working
could
on them
be
a long
like
time. So, anyways, we'll get Kevin P on soon. So good, Lucky. What is going on in the world?
what is going on in the world? Quite a bit this week. A couple of things. All right, there's all this controversy with Starbucks and these cup writing rules. I don't know if you guys have been following this. They started a campaign this year sometime, I think maybe at the beginning of the year, that the baristas, when they deliver the coffees, were going to write cute little messages on the cups and present them to when the person picks up their drink, whether it's their name or have a good day or something innocuous like that. But apparently some of the baristas, with all the political strife going on, have have used the platform to write you know, more than just nice hellos on the
Right,
cups. I don't
right.
know. What's your guys' take on that? Like, have you followed that?
Well, because the new CEO came in, right? He's been there a year. I just read that, right? He's getting paid somewhere in the order of $100 million, and he wants to get back to what they did best, right? Which was that original Starbucks thing. And Mr. Fun, is probably the most Starbucks of the three of us. But the fact is that was one of their original hallmarks, right? Was writing the name or misspelling it, and then it go on social media or whatever the case may be. And you can see why he wants to do it, but it is such a divided time. It runs the risks. How do you control that?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, pretty much it.
There was a little bit of a local controversy in the Starbucks that I visit because there's now locks on the bathroom doors. You have to be assume you have to be you have to ask for the code to use the door. And it had shifted to a place, whether good or bad, where a lot of folks who were, homeless or displaced people were hanging out and they were cleaning themselves up and stuff like that. And now it makes it a lot more difficult for them to do that. And so people have mixed feelings about
Who's
that. In this
who's
particular
upset about that?
Starbucks,
Because
which I think is
I've seen that in other Starbucks. Like, who's
the
upset
people
that?
who think that Starbucks was doing the right thing by welcoming those people, giving them a place to, sit for the day and clean up after themselves, whatever. The people who support that kind of, outreach are mad that now it's more difficult.
Again, this will be my comment. They're the same people that wouldn't let them sit in their own house, but I'll just let it go at that.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
That's right.
that's
yeah.
the thing. So look,
You
I think going back to your point, like I think they just got to tell them you just got to write the name. You can't, and if you don't, and you go down the path one way or the other, you got to fire people like that.
I agree
Yeah.
with that. I don't
You know,
need
Mis-
I don't need I don't need a barista telling me how to live my life.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Well, Mr. Fun, have you picked up your coffee and it's like, hey, good looking or anything like that? Have you had anybody
Nobody's
like?
ever written "Hey, good looking" on a cup to me. Nobody's ever done that. Mrs. Fun every once in a while comes to bed. We do some role playing, and she comes to bed wearing a Starbucks costume, and that way, when she uh, calls me the wrong name, I'm not offended.
Okay,
Jeez.
very good.
There you go.
Poor Mrs. Fun. Okay, this and we've talked about this one too around the baseball season. The Robo Umps are actually coming to the games next year, right? I think the rules committee of Major League Baseball passed some rules that they're going to bring the ability to challenge balls and strikes, which they experimented with that during the the spring training season. And I think from a player's perspective, they really enjoyed having that capability to challenge a ball or a strike call. So, okay, so I guess the question is, with this capability going mainstream now, or functionality or whatever, as part of the game, do you think the umps are going to clean themselves up? Like, are they going to work together and have a more uniform strike system?
Wait, sis, just let's rewind here. So it's only to challenge calls. It's not to actually to get the strike zone exactly accurate.
No, I don't think it's to. I don't think they're replacing umpires. They are. I believe they're using it as a capability to challenge. Is
Would
what I think.
I mean that just strikes me, pardon the pun, as not the they're like dipping their toe in the water. The technology is there to get the strikes and balls accurate.
Yeah.
And why not? And the umps still have a role to play, right? They have a role to play when there's plays at the plate, balks, what you call it, bats. Did they swing through the ball? Whatever the case may be. And I think it's ridiculous. That's just going to slow the game down. And
Well, but okay, but it's the equivalent of the challenge with the with a play at a base, I mean, or a foul ball or a home run, somebody can challenge it. So I don't, and they'll have a limit on challenges, like you're allowed to challenge certain number, and if you're wrong, you lose the ability to challenge. Probably be something like that. I haven't seen the detailed rules, but I really think my theory on it is that it'll make the umpires come up with more uniform strike zones, and like they don't want to be, with the technology, they don't want to be shown as not having good capability to call balls and strikes. So I think it's going to be good for the game. So
I
I've
think it's going to be a train wreck.
I've
In
come a
my
long
opinion.
way on this one. Like I used to think that there was a certain fun to the human element of an umpire. You know, the catcher pulling what would be a ball out of the strike zone into the strike zone to get a strike call. Like I used to think that was part of the game and kind of fun. And now I'm like, get it right. Get it right. Like Biff was saying, um, if it's accurate, if it's really accurate and you could tell a batter, this is your strike zone, and if the pitcher throws it in there, it's going to be called a strike because the computer's going to say it's a strike. Kind of think that's better for baseball.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't
I
like
was
the half.
watching.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, I was watching a game again. I've already said I'm a casual fan, but there was a game on the other night. And it was a West Coast game. I want to say it was Seattle, but somebody was pitching really well, and it was to get to the point where he was going to have 11 or 12 strikeouts, which was a lot for some game or something like that. But you could clearly see in the last strikeout the ball was outside of the zone. It's just bad. I just, tennis had the equivalent of what baseball says they're about to do, right? Is you could challenge balls in or out in tennis, and it just drags the game on, and
yeah.
it becomes contentious. So this is where I don't get it. If that's
Has
what
it
they're going to
changed,
do,
Biff? Is tennis now 100%?
there might be one tournament left, but the last tournament, I think Wimbledon went automatic. And
Okay.
it just moves. There's no controversy. There's some controversy around the net if a ball touches the net, but that's about it. But
Yeah.
it just moves. It's so much better.
I
Yeah.
think in
Right.
tennis, it's hard to the naked eye to be able to call some of those because the ball's moving so fast or whatever, and the umpire in tennis is not on top of the play. They sit in that chair in the middle of the court. Versus in baseball, they're right behind the home plate. They really have no excuse for missing a ball and a strike. I mean, nobody's perfect, but some of the egregious situations that have been shown that led us to this point where Robo umps are now coming onto the scene. I mean, so I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see baseball. We talked last week about some of the challenges baseball has. I sort of think this one may have a positive impact, but it could easily go sideways too. So.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Is there
anyway,
is there any fear that the umps get pissed and they take their balls and go home?
yeah, probably. All right. Public address, or I mean, public service announcement here. Okay, so a lot of our listeners, myself, Mr. Fun, live in the state of Maryland. So October 1st, there's some new laws coming out. There's one in particular I wanted to highlight because it impacts every one of us who are basically all drivers. So right now, if you get caught speeding, it's a $40 flat fee fine. That's how the state of Maryland works. But starting October 1st, they have a sliding scale that goes up to $425 for a fine. So if you're 40 miles an hour or above the speed limit and you either get caught by a police officer or one of those cameras, $425. But like if you're and the base fine is at $50. But if you go over 15 miles an hour, you're paying between somewhere close to between 50 and 425. So it scales up quickly. So as a way to generate more revenue, but also curtail, speeding, which is pretty dramatic, I think. From again, a lot of fines now are done by cameras and technology, but just be careful if you're driving in the state of Maryland after October 1st.
But think about that 40 miles an hour over the speed limit. Okay. I'm not even sure you should have your license after it, let alone $425 fine, right? Look, I'm not trying to be flippant, but speed limit's 55. That suggests you're going 95, or speed limit's 25. You're going 65 in a 25 zone. I'm not sure there's things that are much more dangerous, especially on the lower end, the 25 and going 65. The 95, you could argue if it's a straight road and it's late, but then there's nobody there, whatever. But it's still... again, 425 and lose your license. Yeah, that would keep people from doing it. I'm not suggesting they should do that, but it's interesting.
What was the lower end? Like, has that gone up? Do I lose? I'm sorry.
It goes up from $40 to $50. So the lowest, okay. But if it's 55 miles an hour speed limit on, like call it Route 95 or whatever. I mean, I've gone 80, 85. And if I get nabbed, I'm going to be paying a lot more than what I did before October 1st. I mean, it's probably going to be in the $300 range versus the $40 that was previously charged. So, and it's interesting. The state of Virginia has a bunch of rules about if you go over certain miles per hour over the speed limit and get caught, it's reckless driving, which is big deal. Right. I don't know what Maryland's doing with the reckless driving classification, but they, probably be a good idea to overlay it onto the fines for speeding.
Yeah, I almost think I'm okay if you're going 40 miles an hour over the speed limit. You're risking a big fine or something even worse. But I kind of think it would be a good rule to make it like the more speeding tickets you get, the higher the fine is. So
that's a good one.
I mean, if you go over the speed limit once and get a $50 fine, okay. But if you consistently drive too fast, maybe they keep track of that.
Well, isn't that the points system? They still have points, right?
No, wait, I might be wrong about this. When I've unfortunately gotten a couple speeding tickets where I'm going 10 miles, 12 miles over the speed limit, I pay them. I don't think it hurts my record, does it?
Yeah, it's interesting. I think the points come into play when a physical police officer pulls you over. The points aren't associated with the Robo cameras kind of thing, which is
that's interesting. Weird. We should find that out for sure because points surely is the thing that kind of, Mr. Fun, gets to your point that if you get, I don't know what the number is, 4 or 5 points, you can lose your license based on points. So that's interesting. So good.
Yeah. A couple other quirky things. This week happens to be Fat Bear Week. I don't know if it's getting a lot of run on social media, but there's this big contest in Alaska, and there's voting over this period of September, the month of September. But they take these bears that they've tagged at different points, and they allow citizens to vote on like their favorite fat bear, and it's just getting they're getting millions of votes being cast. And it's getting a lot of attention, but it's like a more of a to generate some interest in bear taking care of bears and that kind of thing. But I don't know. It was this contest, which was created in 2014. It just is getting now a lot of attention, and so if you want to vote, you can go to explore.org and take a look at all the fat bears and figure out which one you like to vote for. I don't know, but people are big into their bears in Alaska, I guess.
Yeah, I actually think we talked about this briefly last year, and one of the bears got disqualified for killing another bear, if I remember correctly.
Oh, really?
So that you get DQ'd. That's
he did it with his bare hands.
His bare hands.
His bare hands. Very good.
They actually take those bears and they what do you call it when you turn them into you
Taxidermy.
yeah. They took it to taxidermy and they said, "Would you like a last meal?" And he said, "No, I'm stuffed. I'm gonna be stuffed."
Okay.
That's good. That's going to be
Good
stuff.
one.
Hey, Mr. Fun? What happens when a Frenchman? What do you call a Frenchman, Mr. Fun, that gets attacked by a bear?
Claude.
Paul. Good one. Good one. All right. My last news topic. So, and this is I follow these dating trends. I have a concern about the next generation of people coming through and their dating and their mating habits, etc. So this one I came across my bow this week. There is a influencer. She's an older woman. Her name is Lori Cooper, and she's been pitching this concept of, and get this, I mean, for us, 50-year-old guys or 60-year-old guys, it's going to sound interesting, but it's called Sit at the Bar September. It's advice that she's giving to the younger generation to stop using the online dating stuff and just, hey, why don't you go sit at a bar and strike up a conversation? But it's getting a lot of attention. Like all these younger people are like, oh, wow, that's a great idea. Let me try that, as opposed to, because they're not having success with the dating apps. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. So I don't know. What's your guys' take on that?
First of all, I've mastered the art of sitting at a bar, so I'm not intimidated by the suggestion. But yeah, I mean, I just, we've talked about this a little bit in the past. People don't know how to talk to each other anymore. So yeah.
Yeah, I think that it's an interesting concept, but it's Mr. Fun's point is this whole notion that it's effectively what she's saying is put your phone down, right, and go to a bar and talk to either the bartender or the person to the right and the left of you, and just learn how to socialize again. Coincidentally, I saw something today that they talked about the new retro trend starting this recently is Y2K, right? Think about that. So people are now looking back to Y2K sentimentally to a time, which is effectively almost dovetailing into this point, before phones really became the be all end all. It's to do things that happened in the year 2000 or the late 90s. I guess this is a Gen Z thing. I got to get this right. Maybe it's Gen Z, maybe it's millennials. I don't even know what generation, but it's to go back to in some respects a time that was less technology oriented. It's kind of interesting to do that or think about that.
Well,
I was at a bar.
Go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead.
No,
I was at a bar. I was at a bar the other day. It was an 8-story bar, and they thought an employee jumped off the roof and plunged to his death, but it turned out it wasn't a bouncer. It wasn't a bouncer.
Okay.
Hey, what's the difference between a wife and a beer? Beer still goes down easy.
Okay. Very good. All right. And then I'm going to introduce a new spot on our podcast. We'll do this periodically. And again, us podcasters, the community's large. We leverage ideas from each other. I'm sure people are, the big time podcasters probably listening to talk about with Biff, Lucky, and Mr. Fun and picking up some good ideas, good jokes, etc. So, but there's a podcast called Pardon My Take, and they do a spot called Mount Rushmore, and it's a little bit of a contest between the hosts. So we're going to try this today. Okay, I'm going to call our spot "Talk About Tops." So we're going to have a new name for it. But basically, the concept is we're going to take turns answering a question, and coming up with 4 things for a specific category. And then we're going to evaluate each other. We've done this a little bit before, evaluate each other to see who's good. So, Mr. Fun, you had a spot like this a couple of weeks ago with the first date. So we're going to try this one and see how it goes. All right. You guys ready? All right. So I prepped the guys with this. So the topic is worst places to fart. Okay.
Okay. How do you want us to do it? Are 4? Or you want us to go around?
No, we're going to rotate because we're going to rotate. So Biff, we'll go Biff, Lucky, Mr. Fun in the order of our of our names in the podcast title. But Biff, you get to go first. I'm going to go second. Okay. Mr. Fun, you get to do 2, and then it'll come back to me, etc. So we're going to quickly come up with 4.
There we go.
4 each. All right, Biff, you get to go first.
My first one's an easy one. Airplane.
Okay. My first choice in the contest is the worst place to fart is when you're in the fourth most popular sex position, 69.
Oh,
Oh,
mine
right.
is while getting prepped for a colonoscopy, and
Okay.
No, that's not.
He
Guess he
gets
goes
2.
again, right? Okay.
Yeah.
and the second one is church, because if you fart in church, you have to sit in your own pew.
Good one.
Very,
Like that.
very fun.
Like that.
Very
I'm going job interview.
okay.
Okay. And Biff, you get 2.
All right. I'm gonna go meeting the king. I don't know.
The what?
Okay.
Meeting the king, meeting royalty. You're farting
Okay.
when you're meeting the
Meeting
king.
somebody.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. And
And another one?
this one's in the elevator.
Elevator.
Okay. Okay.
All right. I am going to go at dinner,
Dinner. Okay.
at the dinner table. All right, Mr. Fun, you get 2 to close it out.
I'm gonna go with at the altar while getting married.
Okay. Good one.
Damn it. Damn, I got to think of a new one now because I had that. That was going to be my top one.
And I'm gonna go with while in a 2-man submarine.
Okay.
Because I'm often in the
submarine.
2-man.
A 2-man submarine.
Okay. My fourth one of worst places to fart is a first date.
Okay.
right.
Mine was the same as Mr. Fun. I had written during wedding vows. That's
Yeah.
what I had written down. So damn it, I got to think of another one here. I'm sure I could. Who knows? I don't know. I
While
don't know.
accepting the Academy Award.
Okay.
Yes,
All right. So we'll give you.
All right. Okay.
Okay, so we're gonna we'll put these when we post this week. We'll put a little bit of I'll see if I can gen up a poll, and we'll get our listeners to see if they want to vote who had the best 4. Again, Mr. Fun, his worst places to fart: colonoscopy, church, at the altar, and in a submarine. Mine's are in the 69 sex position, job interview, at the dinner table, first date. And then Biff is airplane, meeting the king, elevator, and
I had
we'll
wedding
give you.
vows
You got
too.
it.
I had no, I just had the
Okay,
vows
well.
as well. I had the same thing as Mr. Fun.
Okay. All right. We'll give you that. All right. So that's our spot now. We just again, pardon my take. Thank you for letting us use your concept. We're going to generate this. If you guys have any other Mount Rushmore topics you'd like us or talk about tops, let us know and we'll consider them. If you have a great idea for worst places to fart, let us know that as well.
Yeah. So let me I'm going to kind of segue off of that to a sporting event where the U.S. is shitting the bed.
Nice.
As a segue, is the Ryder Cup, which has been going on, and we talked about this before. And I've thought about this more, Mr. Fun. I know we had this debate about is there any bigger sporting event or whatever words Lucky used to describe the intensity of the Ryder Cup, and there might be bigger sporting events, which we talked about, your World Cup, things along those lines. But the reality is, I sort of go back to Lucky's point, which is, as a singular focused event, meaning there's no other international competition going on, there is a lot of pressure on these golfers. There's no doubt about it. And you're representing your country in the U.S.'s case, or you're representing Europe in the Europeans' case. But regardless, the U.S. can't get out of their own way. We talked about baseball earlier. I mean, they're hitting a static ball, right? It's on the ground, and they just stink at it this week. And there's theories on why that is, and I'm not sure. I think we'd all kind of hypothesize what it might be, but I just don't know. They just can't play as a team in a singular sport. That seems to be the larger issue.
Well, it's not the pressure, right? Because I mean, they are pressure tested every single week. Big major tournaments or whatever. And there is a lot of pressure representing your country. So I don't know if the pressure, it might be a tad different, but it's still the level of magnitude is about the same. So but you really think it's because like some of the formats they play, like alternate shot. So one player hits one and then the next player has to, you think that's really impacting their performance, Biff?
I think it is to a certain extent. I think certain golfers are better individual golfers than they are, team golfers even in a 2-man team sense. I famously or infamously, whichever word you want to use, Tiger Woods wasn't that great at the Ryder Cup. He was okay, right? He's arguably the best golfer in the generation for sure, if not ever. And he wasn't that good at the Ryder Cup, which suggests that he was singularly focused. Scotty Scheffler, would they repeat ad nauseum, world number 1, is awful. at the Ryder Cup.
Yeah.
And there seems to be a disconnect. And the final thing I'll say is, and I've shared with some others here locally, the one thing the Europeans have is a lot of the Europeans, frankly, went to school in the U.S. They live in the U.S. They did some things, but when they came to the U.S., they were expats. They didn't know anybody else, so they probably hung around with other Europeans. Even though they're playing an individual sport, they're hanging around with people that were going through the same thing as they were. And I think they have a different mindset, which is, hey, we need to come together because our survival, not to overuse a word, of playing golf is required on making sure that we're in a good headspace, and that requires other people from Europe. And that's my view of it. But anyways, Mr.
Yeah.
Can
Fun,
I
you were
ask you
going
a couple of naive questions?
Yeah.
So is there any talk that there's the wrong players on the team?
Yes.
A little bit. Yeah.
Okay. And then I'm a golfer who theoretically has hit almost every possible shot. I'm a professional golfer. I just have to hit it. Is it when you're talking about playing individually, and I don't know if you can answer this question, but is it because maybe Tiger Woods drove the ball off the tee further, so he's not used to taking the shot from where he is, where he's picking up from his teammate? Is it that? Like, why is it so hard just to make one shot?
I think that's a fair that's a fair point. That is the case. I mean, but the captain's supposed to adjust the pairings for that, like who's going to bomb the ball, and it's going to put a golfer in a specific spot. I think that is true. I think going back to your first point, though, Mr. Fun, about the people on the wrong team. The issue is that when they choose the Ryder Cup, I think it's the first 6 picks are automatic, so it's based on some form of points ranking, which is world ranking plus recent play. And some of the guys on the U.S. team hadn't been playing well, but they were still high up in the rankings. And
Okay.
it's sort of making a mockery of the rankings because what we've talked about live before, some of the best golfers in the world aren't playing on the PGA Tour anymore, and they're not getting ranking points. And John Rahm arguably is the best golfer playing this weekend up in New York, and he doesn't, he's on Live Tour, and it's become a problem. The world number 3 golfer, not to go too far in the weeds, Mr. Fun, is a guy named Russell Henley. For those of us that watched any of the first few matches, he was awful. I'm not suggesting he's a bad golfer, but he just was not the right guy to be on the team.
So the
It's a
Europeans
problem.
don't have that same thing that number of points gets them automatic bids.
No,
on the
they
team?
do. But there's a bit more liberalism, I think, with the way you do it. The teams can make their own decision on how they do it. The U.S. tends to take the top 6, and then they pick the next 6. They almost take out the variability. I think the Europeans give themselves a little bit more leverage.
Do you
So
think the
that's why.
U.S. With the debacle of getting shellacked, at least through 2 days of the 3-day event, do you think they come back and try to change the rules about how they form the team?
They talk about it every 2 years. I don't know. I don't know if they will.
Yeah.
I think that the captain made a mistake not choosing himself, Keegan Bradley. I think he would have been a better golfer out there. I understand why they did that, but I just think it's not. Look, we'll get over it by the end of the weekend, right? And then we'll move on to football again, right? That's what's going to happen, right? And I think that's going to be what we do.
Hey, speaking of which, can I get you guys quick take on college and NFL football? What's your thoughts this
Yes.
weekend?
I think college, real quick, was so the 2 big games yesterday were Penn State, Oregon, and Georgia, Alabama. Interestingly, both away teams won in the home thing, and Alabama salvaged their national championship hopes. Excuse me, very good. Oregon won at Happy Valley up in Penn State. They were number 6, I think, going into the game. They obviously are a top tier program, so it was interesting to watch that. I think that was really good.
Yeah, this is Terp's big week coming up on the game. Have a game on Saturday against Washington with their 4-0 record. So we'll see how legit our Terps are for we have a lot of Terps.
What would have been better, Washington winning or Washington losing? Because Washington got shellacked by Ohio State at home. We thought they were playing in Columbus, but they played in Seattle.
Yeah, I think regardless that they had a game against a tough opponent, I don't know if they had any injuries as a result of the game, but I think that's what benefits the Terps the most, and the fact that they got to travel now too.
Yeah, it may also give us a real way to measure how good the Terps are if we have a similar victory, or vice versa. Yeah,
I think Washington is favored. I mean, they're definitely favored. I think it's like between 4 and 6 points that they're favored coming with all those circumstances. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you know what Brokeback Mountain and the NFL have in common? They both have Cowboys that suck.
Pretty good one.
There's a big game
Awesome.
tonight. Cowboys Packers, I think, is the big game tonight because Micah Parsons on the Packers there was on the Cowboys, and that seemed to change their fortunes around. But we'll see. So
I'm tired of the Cowboys. I like the nation's team, America's team. I just don't see them as that anymore. They just haven't been good for a long time. I'm just tired of them being put in the spotlight, and they got their, flamboyant owner, Jerry Jones. I think they're not a great team. I don't know. So
yeah,
that's my.
Did you see the Bears had? I guess the Bears sold some more minority stake in their franchise, valued at over $9 billion.
Wow.
For a team again that hasn't been very good recently. Now they've been better with Caleb Williams at the helm now, but it's a single football team town. They should be worth that much, frankly. Third biggest city in the U.S. or whatever it is, but that's a big valuation for the Bears. So good, Mr. Fun, we are there.
Oh, this is the joke, the risque joke.
It is.
All right, what is gray and comes in quartz?
In what?
What is gray and comes in quartz?
Quartz.
An old
elephants.
Yeah,
comes in.
Okay.
Comes in quartz.
Quartz, like coming, like sperm.
No, I understood that. I'm just trying to get the quartz thing. Maybe I'm just missing the quartz.
Quartz, like the amount, like a gallon.
I got that.
Maybe I should have said comes in gallons.
Yeah.
For Biff. What is gray and comes in gallons? Elephants.
I mean, quartz.
It's a funny joke.
I'm thinking, wait, don't pick a word like courts, by the way, which this is the struggle with the English language. I'm thinking court, like court of law. Courts
You'll
like the rock.
Later.
Or courts, then you have courts like the container. You got 3 words that's spelled differently.
Are you referring to Mr. Fun's abuse of the English language, Biff?
Well, that is without question that the English language has taken.
If there's an audience that could dissect the joke and remove any bit of funniness or humor from it, you guys
that would
are
be me. No, we are not yet. Oh,
that's
stop.
a good joke. That's.
By the way, on your other channels, you have now told the baguette joke twice on this podcast, and I think also I've heard that baguette bread in captivity joke.
It's a good joke.
It is a good joke.
Yeah.
Only if you didn't butcher last. What was the joke you butchered last week? It was the elevator button joke.
You want me to tell it again?
Oh, do you think you get it right?
I don't know. So this woman slapped me while I was riding the elevator. I misunderstood when she said, push 1.
You got it wrong. Again.
I forgot. Press 1. Press 1. Yeah. When the girl with big boobs slapped me in the elevator. That was it.
That's great. That's wonderful.
All
right. Lucky,
wait,
how do they,
you want one more joke just for the heck of it? So did you hear, wait. Oh, there was a guy named, I met this guy. His last name was Information. And he filed for divorce because everybody was spreading misinformation.
Ooh, okay.
Jeez, look at you. So, all right. Lucky, well, you're calling that segment Talk About Tops, TOPS?
Yes.
I understood it. Okay,
yes.
Talk About Tops. How would people, suggest things to us?
talkabout2023@gmail.com. So thank you for the emails and the advice and guidance and feedback on our weekly endeavor here.
Advice and guidance, like we've been talking to attorneys here. That was good.
Yeah, well, we get advice and guidance. Hey, talk about this, talk about that. We do. That joke was great. That joke was not great. We get a lot of those kind of things.
Mr. Fun, do you have any words of wisdom?
No, but if you have problems pronouncing the word quartz, you should shift to gallons for that joke. Gallons. That's my words of wisdom. I did forget a joke. Where do cows' farts come from? The derriere. The derriere.
Derriere. Good one.
Look at you. You're good. That's very good, Mr. Fun. You redeemed yourself on that. So
Thank
wonderful.
you.
So, again, everybody listen to us on all the podcast platforms. Watch us on YouTube. Look out for our YouTube shorts. Are they reels, Lucky? What do you put them on?
Yeah, they turn in reels.
Instagram.
Yeah.
Hey, they're Instagram reels, so we have that. So please look at that. Like, subscribe, share, tell everybody about it in Mexico, in New Jersey, or even here on the Delmarva. Tell anybody that will listen to follow us. So good. Till we do it again next week, let me just say goodbye.
Do we have time for an outro?
We do. We have a quick outro. You got something on your mind, Mr. Fun?
No.
I
Just wanted to know how much time I got to continue to live.
All right, Lucky.
So at this wedding in Puerto Vallarta, take on all-inclusive. So it's an all-inclusive resort we're staying at. Big fan or not a fan?
I've never been to an all-inclusive resort. I've only been on cruise ships, which are effectively the same thing. I would think I'd like it. I don't know.
I love it. I love all-inclusive. You wear the wristband, you get the, what's it called? The frozen chocolate monkey, and you're talking with your hands in the pool, and you accidentally dunk it underwater, and you just throw it out and get another one. I love it.
Yeah.
I love
So
the
I feel like at this wedding, we have a lot of family members here. I feel like it's like spring break for parents because everybody for adults. I mean, it was, the whole slew of us were in the pool yesterday. Everybody's got drinks in their hands. We were all sunburned, drinking, all kinds of crazy mojitos and whatever drinks they had on the menu. And we had some casualties. Yeah, I'll just leave it at that. But excuse me. Big congratulations to Reed and Alexis on their wedding. I just want to give a big shout out to them and they're big listeners. So thanks for including us.
Okay, so Lucky, we had Mrs. Biff and I were on a cruise coincidentally, and we were at Margaritaville in Ocho Rios, Jamaica, which had a pool, right? And they had a bar, and the surprising number of people that didn't actually leave the pool for 5 hours. So where did their pee go? Do you think there were guys, people are pissing all in that pool?
Yeah.
At the beginning of the day, I was getting out of the pool to go to the bathroom. But I didn't see anybody get out the whole night. So that's part of like this. It's like spring break for parents, for adults.
Oh my gosh!
Hey, I got to share with you guys. I'm back on the Ozempic, and they always ask you what your side effects are, and so I am sweating more than I've ever sweated in my whole life. This party yesterday, I was standing there in my head. I was saying. I was listening to my breath. I was like, control your heartbeat. Don't swing your hands around. Don't talk. And sweat was just pouring out of my head. I was sweating. Nobody else was sweating, of course. I was sweating so much because I think that's the side effect right now. And it hasn't always been like this. I don't know what's going on, but if you see me sweating, it's certainly not because I'm over-exerting myself. It's got to be the Ozempic.
Mr. Fun, be easy. Take it easy. We love you. We don't want you to abuse your body so much that
sweat to death.
All right. Speaking of sweating, Mr. Fun, we're going to give the final words on the outro to you. What do we say in the outro?
Okay, I'm going to take this serious today. Listen, we want to thank all of our loyal listeners, new listeners, and folks who are just love to laugh, love to listen to three middle-aged men talk about lives and things going on in the world. We want to invite you to listen again next week, share this with others, and remember, we never say goodbye.
Perfect. Well done. See you guys. Safe travels. See you.
All right, guys. It was fun.